What's up, friends? Happy day, Truth Outdoors. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's a little dark, it's early. I am back out here on some public land in a really good spot. I've killed a lot of deer here, kind of on top of a ridge here. We got a field behind me, got a main trail over here off to the right of me, and these deer tend to run right across the top of this ridge. There's some oaks scattered around that they'll probably be feeding on. So yeah, let's sit tight and see if we can't get into anything today. Hopefully one will come through and give us a shot. Well, that was pretty cool. They were just a little too far. We'll see, maybe they'll come back. They might work their way back this way. I've seen the deer do that before. I've hunted this spot where they've gone over that way, and then after a little bit of time they started working their way back this way, so we will see what happens. friends, that sucks. That's Truth Outdoors though, you know. I want to share everything, the good stuff and the bad stuff, the misses, you know, the ups and downs. But I hit those branches out in front of me. That was my fault. I didn't dot all my I's and cross my T's, you know, before I made that shot. I knew I was shooting through some branches there, but I should have been a little bit more careful. I mean, she was calm. I could have let her feed out, but I let the nerves get the best of me. I had deer everywhere. Had those little fawns there. Had deer over here on the right of me. But, you know, I had that buck. I had an opportunity to shoot him, but I'm just holding out. Maryland has some antler restrictions, you know, so I didn't want to use my buck tag up yet on that little buck. I hope I don't regret that later, but it is what it is. So and hey, you know, I know that deer had some fawns with it, and some of you guys might not agree with that, but I'm okay with that. I was going to take that deer. It's late enough in the year. I think those fawns would have been fine. So anyways, guys, you know, that is what it is. So I'm going to sit here for a few more minutes. It's almost 10 o'clock. I think I'm going to wait till about 10 and I'll climb down. Maybe something else will come through and give me an opportunity, but I'll catch you guys a little bit. All right, friends. Well, that was a pretty exciting morning. Started out a little slow, but as I've seen those deer do before in the past, the morning goes on and they come up from that other property and that river bottom and just seem to work across the edge of that ridge there and start feeding their way back into some bedding. I'm assuming that's what they're doing. And of course, you guys saw that miss I had. That was my fault, as well as I deflected off of a branch, but ultimately it was my fault. I should have waited for a better shot. She was calm. She wasn't going anywhere. She didn't know I was there. And I took that shot, but it is what it is. That's bow hunting. I'm sure it's happened to most of us. I'm sure it's not the last time it's going to happen to me. And then I'm a little out of breath hiking up out of these woods. But and also just wanted to address me shooting at a doe with fawns. And maybe that upset some of you guys. Maybe it didn't, but I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. I'm hunting in an antlerless, well, an unlimited antlerless county. We can kill as many antlerless deer that we can within the season. They're way overpopulated, so I think those fawns would have been fine. They're eating acorns, they're eating browse and whatever else right now, so I'm okay with it. And if it upsets some of you guys, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And so I got this evening to hunt. I don't know where I'm going to go exactly. Might go back to that property I got the deer at opening day. It's pretty close to home, so it's convenient to go there, and there's always a lot of deer over there. Might come out here, not sure, but anyways, I will see you guys a little later today. All right, friends, so just got back to the truck. Just wanted to go over a couple ideas, maybe a couple tips that might help you. And this is probably more for you newer hunters or guys that haven't been hunting that long. You experienced guys, you're probably already doing some of these things, but a good buddy of mine ran into a little bit of a situation opening day and had to forfeit his whole hunt over this. So just thought I would share some ideas, some tips of what might help you guys out to stay out in the woods, you know, if anything happens. We all spend a lot of money, a lot of time. We're using our vacation to get out here hunting. So, you know, for myself, I always try to be really prepared. So if anything happens, I can stay out here and keep hunting, you know. Of course, this is more for just whitetail hunting. I'm sure hunting out west and on big hunting trips and things like that, it's a whole different scenario. But just a couple things I wanted to go over. And first thing is, this happened to my buddy, is an extra release. I always carry 2 releases. I shoot some thumb buttons from Knock On, the Knock To It's, but I have my main release, which I have a holster for that I put on my safety belt, so that's always clipped in there when I'm walking in the woods or walking out, and so that way I won't lose it. I know a lot of guys that are shooting wrist straps, they don't put them on until they get in the tree stand, and they're trying to clip them onto their quivers or around their stabilizer or bow, whatever, and things happen. And that's what happened to my buddy. He actually lost his release and didn't realize it until he got up in the tree and had to climb down. So I always keep an extra release. Now this is the exact one I use, and it wasn't always that case because I know these things are expensive. But my suggestion would be just get an inexpensive one, just something that you're confident in shooting. If you have to, you know, if you were to lose your release, but you have an extra one, an old one, something to keep in your pack, really won't take up much weight. You know, don't go out there trying to shoot your bow with fingers. You're not Dan Fitzgerald, but I mean, hey, maybe some of you guys are, but that's almost impossible with today's modern compound bows. So that's one tip. If you can afford it, or get your hands on a second release, even if it's a used one or something, just to have a backup in your bag. That would might really help you guys, or save you in a situation. And another thing, this is me, maybe you guys aren't worried about it, but I have my main headlamp, right? This is what I walk in the woods with, or walk out in the evenings. But who knows, the batteries could die, could stop working, lose it, whatever. I don't want to be stuck out there in the woods by myself in the dark, or tracking a deer and run out of flashlight or whatever. So I always keep a second one. Again, not too much weight, you know, won't take up much in your pack, just to add a second flashlight in there. Highly recommend that you guys do that. And then this actually happened to me this morning. I got into a tree, a big tree. Shout out to that XOP climber. You were able to get in some really big trees, and I'm not used to that with my older climbers. And so when I got in that tree, my main bow hanger that I use, it wouldn't fit around the tree. I didn't have enough strap. I've never had that happen to me, but I always stay prepared, and I have a second gear hanger, bow hanger. This is just a 3D printed one from Hang Free, and it came with a really long strap. So I am so glad I had that. I was able to dig deep down in my pack and got that around the tree and made that work. So that was awesome for me. And then one more quick tip, a pull rope. I always carry some extra paracord with me. This is 550 cord. I think you guys saw in my gear review, my hunting gear review, I have a little reel that I use to hoist my bow and gear up with that. But if that thing was to ever tangle, break, or what have you, I've got enough cord here, 550 paracord, probably about 20 feet to do whatever. You never know when you need it for something also. All right, well, hopefully these few tips or ideas will help you guys out in the future if you ever run into a situation. And let me know in the comments if you guys have any other ideas or anything like that. All right, friends, headed in for the afternoon hunt. I am back at the property that I got the doe, opening day. Like I said earlier, it's just close to home and convenient. I'm gonna slip in here. I'm not going real far in. I got a spot pretty close, similar to last time. See if we can't get a shot. It's definitely not as hot today, but it's warmed up, that's for sure. But hopefully we can redeem ourselves from this morning. I'll see you guys out in the tree. Alright guys, well, it has been a super slow afternoon. I haven't even hardly seen a squirrel. I did get a glimpse of one deer way off out in front of me, just moving through the brush. It was just for a split second. Never even really had enough time to get the camera on. But yeah, we got about an hour left, 45 minutes. We'll see what happens. Everything can change in a matter of minutes. You know how that goes, so let's sit tight till dark. All right, friends, well, I am walking out back to the truck. It was a pretty slow evening, but that's how it goes sometimes. I will be back at it in no time, but I appreciate you guys watching. Have a freaking awesome day, and I'll see you on the next one.